Question 10. So I'd like to try these questions before I give the answers. So I'll make it a little bit bigger as well. So here are 6 questions. And here are the other 6, so altogether 12 questions. So solve the following inequalities and illustrate the solutions on a number line or number lines. So question A. So we want to get the x by itself. So to get the x by itself, we have to take away 4 from both sides. So to get rid of this plus 4, so to take away 4 here, take away 4 here. Now on the right hand side, 8 take away 4 is just 4. On the left hand side, the add 4 and the take away 4 cancels out, which is what we wanted. So that we get our x by itself. So x has to be greater than or equal to 4. So how do we show this on the number line? Well, we know that x is equal to 4 or greater. So x, if we just say x is greater than 4, we will do this, and because it's equal to, we're going to shade it in. So that's the answer to A. So an additional question that they could ask is, what is the smallest number or the smallest integer that x could be? So the smallest integer that x could be is 4. That's the smallest number it can be, because x is allowed to be 4 because it is equal to or greater than 4. Question B. So we want the x on its own, so we have to get rid of the plus 5 here. So to do that, we have to take away 5 on this side, take away 5 on the right hand side. So on the right hand side, 3 take away 5 is minus 2. And on the left hand side, the plus 5 and the minus 5 is cancelled out, leaving us with just x. So x has to be less than negative 2. So negative 2 is here, and less than would be this way, and we will not color the circle in because it is not equal. Okay, it is less than negative 2. So the additional question could be, what is the largest integer that x could be? What's the largest whole number x could be? And the answer is x could be minus 3. It cannot be minus 2. The largest number it can be is minus 3. Question C now. So we want the x by itself, so that means we have to get rid of this minus 1 on the left hand side. So how do you get rid of minus 1? We have to add 1 to the left, and if to keep it balanced, we have to add 1 to the right as well. So we'll add 1 to both sides. So on the right hand side, 2 add 1 is 3. Copy the sign down. The minus 1 and the plus 1 cancels out, leaving us just x. So x has to be equal to or less than 3. So if we said less than 3, we have to cut a circle, put a circle above 3. So this means less than 3. So x would be less than 3. However, we have an equal sign there. So x is equal to or less than 3. So we have to shade this in. And if they asked you what is the largest integer or largest whole number that this could be, the answer would be x can be equal to 3. That's the largest number x can be. Question D. We want x by itself. So that means we have to get rid of this minus 4. So to do that, we're going to add 4 to this side. If we add 4 to the left, we have to add 4 to the right. So what's minus 1 add 4 is 3. And on the left hand side, the minus 1 and the plus 4 cancels out, leaving just x. So x is greater than 3. So how did you show this on the number line? Well, we have to first of all draw a circle on the 3, and then it's greater, so the arrow will go this way. We will not shade it in because it is not equal to 3, it's just greater than 3. So if they ask us what's the smallest integer that x could be, the answer would be x is equal to 4, but x cannot be 3. So the smallest number that x can be to satisfy this condition is 4. So the smallest x could be is 4. Question E now. So we want the x by itself. So to get the x by itself, we're going to have to divide both sides by 2. So we're going to get rid of this times 2 here, so we'll divide by 2 here. So if we divide by 2 on the left hand side, we have to divide by 2 on the right hand side as well. So why do we divide by 2? Because we want to get rid of this times 2 here. So times 2 and divide 2 cancels out, leaving with just x on the left. On the right hand side, 8 divided by 2 is 4. So x has to be greater than 4. So if we want to find where 4 is on the number line, draw a circle, and because it's greater, the arrow is going to go to the right. And we're not going to shade the circle in because it is not equal. So that's how we represent the number line. Now if they ask us what's the smallest number x could be, the answer would be 5. The smallest integer that satisfies this rule is 5. X is equal to 5. Now just to remind you, when does the arrow go to the right? The arrow goes to the right if x is greater than a number. Okay, so it goes to the right if x is greater than the number. And when does the arrow go to the left? Is when x is less. When x is less, it goes to the left. Just to remind you of that. Question F now. So we want the x by itself. So because we want the x by itself, we have to divide both sides by 3. So to get rid of the times 3 here, we have to divide by 3 on the left. So we'll have to divide by 3 on the right as well. You have to do the same thing to both sides. Whatever you do to the left, you'll have to do the same to the right. So on the right hand side, 15 divided by 3 is 5. On the left hand side, the times 3 and the divide 3 cancels out, leaving with just x. So x is equal to or less than 5. So let's go and find 5 first. So just because it's less than 5, we'll do this. And because it's also equal, so the question, this says x is equal to or less than 5, we'll have to shade the circle in. And if they ask us what is the largest possible number here, or the largest possible integer, x is equal to 5. So x can be equal to 5 because it said here x is equal to or less than 5. Question G. So we want the x by itself. So we have to divide both sides by 4 because we want the x by itself here. We have to get rid of that x, we have to divide this by 4. And if we divide the left hand side by 4, we have to divide the right hand side by 4 as well. So on the left hand side, the times 4 and the divide 4 cancels out, leaving just x. And on the right hand side, I'm going to have 10 over 4. So this can be simplified. I can divide the top and the bottom by 2. So 10 divided by 2 is 5 and 4 divided by 2 is 2. So 10 over 4, equivalent fraction is 5 over 2, which means 5 divided by 2, which means half of 5. Half of 5 is 2.5. So x is less than 2.5. So where is 2.5 on the number line? It's roughly here, and because it's less, the arrow will go to the left, like so. So, and if they asked us what's the largest possible integer, and the answer will be 2. X can be 2. Okay, it can't be, obviously it can't be 3, and 2.5 is not a whole number, and in any case it's not equal to 2.5. So the largest possible integer or largest possible whole number is 2. X is equal to 2. With question H now, we want the x by itself. So what, to get rid of this times 2 here, so to do that we're going to divide both sides by 2. So on the right hand side, 9 divided by 2, well, it's half 9, which is 4.5. And on the left hand side, the times 2 and the divide 2 cancels out, leaving just x. So x has to be greater or equal to 4.5. So where is 4.5? 4.5 is here. It has to be greater, so the arrow will go that way. And because it's equal, we're also going to shade it. So that's how you represent the answer. So if they asked you what's the smallest possible integer, well, the smallest possible whole number is 5 there. So x is equal to 5. It can't be 4 because it has to be greater than 4.5. 4.5 is not a whole number. So the smallest possible integer, smallest possible whole number is 5. So x is equal to 5. If they asked you what is the smallest possible integer.